You're watching USL football on ESPN Plus. As tonight, St. Louis FC off the home draw against Fresno FC take on LA Galaxy 2, still in search of their first victory of the campaign and just their second goal. They've been shut out in 4 of their 5 matches. My name is Chris Whittingham. I'm joined by George DiMattelis for commentary. And George, let's start first with our players to watch. We'll start first with LA Galaxy 2, that being Emmanuel Apia, wearing the number 45 shirt, and he is the scorer of LA Galaxy 2's only goal this season. How can they turn around this goal-scoring form?
Well, they're going to have to play better in the midfield. That means Apia is also going to have to control the tempo of the game, allow LA Galaxy to have more of the ball. You can't score if you don't have that much of the ball. So he's going to have to be an important player in the midfield, winning the possession, holding the ball up, and allowing the team to move forward and get numbers in attack.
And as you can see, score of LA Galaxy 2's only goal off a set piece, so perhaps opportunities there. Now let's move to the host St. Louis and our Toyota player to watch. And for that, we're having a look at Austin Marks. George, we had commentary of the game a week ago, and I thought he was the man of the match.
He was very impressive down the right side of the St. Louis attack. And with the changes in the front two for St. Louis, we'll get to that in just a second, he is going to be extra important down the right side, providing assists and providing that width in attack for St. Louis to break down the LA Galaxy 2 defense.
As George mentioned, 2 changes up top, both Kyle Gregg and Corey Herzog not in the 18 on account of injuries. We'll bring you the lineup changes for St. Louis FC coming up next. But tonight, we have some USL action for you here on ESPN Plus. It's St. Louis hosting LA Galaxy 2, and it's next.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to theelectricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
This is my Toyota RAV4. My wife and I love it for so many reasons. Fold-down seats, cargo space for days, and the best part? Hands-free liftgate. We can literally open the trunk with our feet. And for that flexibility, I give my RAV4 5 oversized bags.
Tested, trusted, Toyota. Lease a new 2018 RAV4 for $259 per month, or get 0% APR plus $500 bonus cash. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
St. Louis trying to get control, and in control instead, the net is left open, and it's a goal for Kyle Gregg. The keeper way off the line, and Gregg made him pay.
Ball sent in, and it finds a home early for St. Louis.
This evening's St. Louis FC match is brought to you by the Cheshire St. Louis and LHM. For bookings and more information, visit CheshireSTL.com. That's CheshireSTL.com. Chris Whittingham, George DiMattelis for commentary of this one here on ESPN Plus. St. Louis playing host to LA Galaxy 2. LA Galaxy 2 really struggling to start this campaign. No wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. They have just 1 goal scored in their games this season. And George, here's how they're going to try and change things a little bit. A few changes from the game in midweek against Phoenix Rising, including at goalkeeper with Eric Lopez.
Yeah, Eric Lopez is going to have to be very, very strong in goal, anchoring that defense. But we talked about LA Galaxy and only 1 goal scored this season, which means we mentioned Apia as a player to watch, but also look out for Julian Boucher in the middle. The way he links up the defense and the midfield to the attack, connecting with Ariel Lassiter, will be very important for LA Galaxy to get some goals and pick up their first win of the season.
And meanwhile, for St. Louis FC, the big things to note for the changes in this team up top: Joey Callister and Christian Valesky in for Kyle Gregg and Corey Herzog. Both those guys have scored the goals this year for St. Louis and both out injured. Yeah, so Callister and Valesky will have to be very, very important, very clinical with their finishing. Also, we mentioned Austin Martz on the right, but look at Culbertson. He moves up from the left back position to the left wing position, helping to provide some width as well. So look out for the wide play of St. Louis in this matchup. That is going to be very important in order to pick up the victory against LA2, Los Dos, as they say. St. Louis coming in off a home draw against Fresno FC, 3 consecutive games at the Toyota Stadium at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. There's Anthony Poulos, the manager for St. Louis FC in his first year, coming over from Orlando City B. Anthony Poulos getting the job and trying to make his imprint on things. Was pleased with the performance a week ago against Fresno. We had the game, George, but they just struggled at times to break down that Fresno side on the night. Yeah, it was a frustrating evening for St. Louis. They were up in that match 1-0, and then almost instantly there was the equalizer given up on the goal by Juan Pablo Cafa. So for St. Louis, it's going to be important that when they finish their chances, but also that they generate chances. They cannot sit on a 1-goal lead. They have to be aggressive going forward. If they are up 1-0, they have to step on the throat of LA2, which is a team that's struggling to score goals. So if they can get at least 2 or 3 goals, that's 3 points in the win column for them. So how aggressive they are in the attack will be important. And we are underway here from Toyota Stadium. St. Louis FC playing host to LA Galaxy 2. St. Louis FC coming in off the 1-1 draw, getting a goal off a penalty before halftime, but Fresno FC would equalize just after the interval. It would end in a 1-1 draw. LA Galaxy 2, meanwhile, coming in struggling on the year. This is their first game, George, of the campaign without a player suspended since the opening game of the season. Dealt with 3 red cards and a 3-match suspension for Hugo Arellano, who starts in center back as the free kick is taken quickly and sent into the penalty area. Dealt with, though, by St. Louis. St. Louis could potentially be making a tactical switch tonight. We saw a back 4 last week, but it looks like it could be a back 3 with Cavita, Fink, and Reynolds, the 3 center backs. Culbertson and Jonathan Barden on that right-hand side could fly up as wing backs. Yeah, we will see if Barden and Culbertson, how they work together down that left side of the attack. 3 in the back, that is going to be very important. And for a team like LA, which is struggling to score goals, adding an extra midfielder, making it a 5-man midfield, will make it harder for LA to build the attack, hold on to possession, and obviously create goal-scoring chances. So if they do eventually go to the 5 in the midfield, 3 in the back, it's a smart tactical move by Anthony Poulos to put more pressure on the LA2 defense or attack that is very much struggling. As the ball is played back to Eric Lopez, who's forced to just boot it into the stands on account of it being a bit short. There is Eric Lopez, the 19-year-old from Westminster, California. Lopez, we'll see how this match progresses, but he might have caught a break with Gregg and Herzog being out. So we'll see how that works out. But 3, you mentioned, Chris, 3 red cards and only 1 goal. I mean, you're not going to beat an elementary school team if you have those kind of numbers. So LA Galaxy have a lot to improve on, but it's good to get this kind of start out of the way early in the season than later in the season when there's a playoff position on the line. So rough starts can be negated by good finishes. As we can run through now the LA Galaxy 2 lineup with them being on the ball here with Lopez. He'll boot it up. Back 4, right back is Nate Schultz. Thomas Hilliard Arce, the number 2 pick in the MLS Super Draft at right center back next to Hugo Arellano. At left center back, the left back is John Requejo. There's Arellano sending the ball into the stands. Midfield 3 of Apia, Boucher, and Achimpong, and a front 3 of Adrian Vera, Auri Lassiter, Miguel Aguilar. Here the ball is Manuel Cavita. Does seem to be slotting into that right back area. With Barden pushing pretty far forward, so interesting to see how the tactics are working out. On the ball there is Callister. Tony Roca just into the team a week ago with a solid debut as Culbertson can send the cross in. Dealt with though by Hilliard Arce. Or rather, that was Nate Schultz taking care of things. As we'll have our first corner of the match, and it is An Electro Savings Corner. For every goal scored by St. Louis FC off a corner, Electro Savings will be donating $100 to a St. Louis charity. Austin Martz over to take it. And it's taken quickly. And it's played in the direction of Barden. Having a swing at it was Culbertson on the volley. Roca will play it through. It's lofted in. A pair of St. Louis players converging on it, but it's eventually booted away.
And on the 3 St. Louis players converging on that service, that header, essentially they took each other out on that ball by Roca. But Roca is a player in his debut for St. Louis last week. He's an important player in the midfield, a box-to-box type player.
Nice turning play there in the direction of Requejo, who's coming back from his left back position. Well forward in the attack. It'll be a throw in for LA Galaxy 2.
It's looking like a 3 in the back that you mentioned, Chris. Got actually Barden is more of the right winger up there. Martz is pinching in the middle more often. And Culbertson on the left side. And then you have Kavita, Sam Fink, and Reynolds. So trying to clog up that midfield. Obviously hold on to possession and use Martz's ability in tight spaces and more in tighter spaces, pushing him more toward the middle there. It's almost kind of like a 4-2-3-1 in some ways because Martz is in alongside Kalistri and Valesky's by himself up top.
Nate Schultz, and it's given away. And away here is Valesky. There's the option available, tries the shot, and it comes off the outside of the post. Well taken by Christian Valesky.
Yeah, Valesky, he had his head up and he saw where Martz was in the area, but Martz not in the best position. And by then, Valesky had made his mind up to shoot. Arellano, his position in the box, in between Martz and Valesky, kind of threw Valesky off a little bit. He wanted to square it to Martz, but he couldn't quite do it because of the position of Arellano, and so he had to kind of squeeze it in that near post. Didn't quite work. The imagination was there, just off on the execution, but still positive football so far for St. Louis.
Lopez won in the air by Julian Boucher. You won't be able to miss Jeffrey Achimpong in the center of that midfield with the blonde hair. Elad trying to win it off of Reynolds. There's Apia. To come off him last for a throw-in. Came into the studio here ahead of the game, and I said to you, George, LA Galaxy 2 this week, they got Drogba. In the week, lost 1-0 to Phoenix Rising. Heavy ball back in the direction of Fennelson. And they're going to say the ball didn't go out of play. It looked like it might have, but doing well to at least put the ball at the field there was the goalkeeper. But LA Galaxy 2 at home this week to Phoenix Rising as the ball is attempted to play through. Here's Achimpong on the edge of the area. And that's one off him well. Doing solid work there was Lewis Hilton. And the ball falls to Didier Drogba on the edge of the area after kind of a sequence to play. Curls it past Justin Vom Steeg, who was the goalkeeper for LA Galaxy 2 in the week. And lost 1-0. That was the final result of the match.
Well, LA Galaxy 2, that just adds to the long list of teams that Didier Drogba has done that to. He's just a legend. He's one of the greats. He's an icon at Chelsea for what he's done for the Blues of London.
You see there, the ball was played in towards Valesky, but it was one off an LA Galaxy 2 player in a foul manner, and so it's a free kick for Los Dos. We saw today for LA Galaxy of MLS, they're playing away to Chicago Fire, and by virtue of having Zlatan in their team, Chicago Fire had a record attendance today.
Yes.
For a team that's been in the league for a long time, a record attendance at Toyota Park, and it's because they want to go and see Zlatan.
Yeah.
And it's a similar phenomenon with having Drogba in USL.
Yeah, he's a box office draw. He's an entertaining player, very skillful. And I mean, and especially the goals that he scored in El Tráfico against LAFC. I mean, after that just, if you thought he was already popular, after that just even more.
As Requejo was trying to keep it in play. High by Fennelson, if not long. Achimpong winning in the air, but as does Calistri.
And Chris, it's definitely 3 men in the back with Kavita, Fink, and Reynolds. And Barden is dropping back to help out Kavita defensively, but his main responsibility is playing high as a right winger. And what is essentially kind of a maybe a 3-4-3.
One here by Lewis Hilton in midfield, and he can charge on. Valesky had stayed forward. He draws onside. Back heel left for Calistri. Well-footed shot. Unable to get his boot around it and directed on the target.
Yeah, some good football there by St. Louis. Being patient, finding the spaces. Lewis Hilton thought maybe he would slide it through there. Look at the run of Marks there, but he was covered by 2 players, so he's smart to square it toward the center of the pitch and eventually played out wide to Calistri. Some good attacking football, sound attacking football from St. Louis right now. Hasn't led to a goal, but they are getting chances. That's all you need to get that goal, is a number of chances.
It does also seem at the moment like LA Galaxy 2 are struggling to play out at the moment.
Yeah.
It seemed like they're going back to their goalkeeper, Eric Lopez, quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous play for LA Galaxy. You know, every team in the world, they want to play out the back. They want the defenders to bring it up and then through the midfield. But there are only 2 or 3 teams in the world that can do it. So if that's not the case, boot it up the park and then try to win the headers in the midfield and then build the possession that way. Playing from the back sometimes can be very dangerous, especially if St. Louis decides to press heavily on that back line.
Ball sprayed out to Jonathan Barden, the skipper on this right-hand side. Decent ball into the channel for Austin Martz. Tries to play it low across, but couldn't quite sort his feet off. Ball might have taken an awkward bounce off the artificial service.
Looked like Martz, he had Valesky making a run to the near post, but also Calistri was floating toward the penalty spot in the heart of the penalty area. I think that's where Martz was trying to go with that. But we're seeing St. Louis frequently make the right passes in the space to get into the penalty area and get shots on frame. Not in that particular instance, but still, they're getting those opportunities.
As Martz will play Barden in, he is onside, into the penalty area, cutting onto his left. Jonathan Barden tries to peel it back low, but it's cut out by Adriano in defense. Achimpong will lay off for the clear. Struggling to find the target at the moment. Frank Lopez has led the line in the majority of LA Galaxy 2's matches, but Ari Lassiter tasked with that today.
Yeah, Ari Lassiter is going to have a tough time because St. Louis controlling the possession. Lassiter needs that service in order to score goals.
Here is Lassiter, poking through towards Boucher. Ari Lassiter, who has played with LA Galaxy in 22 MLS matches. He's also featured plenty for Los Dos since 2015, 29 goals in 50 matches, so prolific scorer at this level. Here's Boucher. Try and play it into the channel for Miguel Aguilar, but a bit too far out in front to be out for a throw.
Yeah, disjointed so far for LA, for Los Dos going forward. Struggled to get more than 3 or 4 passes forward in attacking. St. Louis doing well in terms of their transition defense, getting numbers back so that LA don't have that space to connect passes.
Nice ball there from Hilton to find Austin Martz. Can he find the cross or the shot? It's well saved by Lopez. Well, there was a cross or a shot. It was dangerous for St. Louis. Given away in the defensive third there by LA Galaxy 2, but able to survive it.
Yep, sloppy passing through the midfield for Los Dos for LA Galaxy 2. Able to spring Martz through. Hilton has been very good in this match so far in the midfield with his ability to distribute.
Boucher. Miguel Aguilar, the 24-year-old, tore his ACL in his first match for LA Galaxy 2 a year ago. Missed the entirety of the campaign, makes his return. Former first-round draft pick in MLS Super Draft. So on this left-hand side, Requejo will push forward again. There's Jeffrey Achimpong, one of a pair of Ghanaians in this team, along with Emmanuel Apia. As it's awkward there for Sean Reynolds, and he's just forced to chest it out of play.
Looks like Reynolds thought that Fenlison would try to come out for the ball. Here's the play here. Martz, he had Hilton, he had Valesky. I think he was trying to square it for one of those two.
I think it might have taken a little
deflection?
slightest of touches off the sliding defender there. Didn't quite get a look at who it was, but the slightest there to put that cross a little bit. I agree with that. I think it was a cross and not a shot.
Maybe that deflection changed the deflection changed the angle toward goal, and Lopez was there to meet it and keep it out.
Achimpong to swing in the left-footed corner. Appiah was in there. He did score off a corner earlier this season. And we'll get decisive contact on at that time. Here's Schultz. And Achimpong again. Thought he was going to hit a right-footed cross. Instead, tried to cut back, but the defender was having none of it, that being Roca. And now space here for Aguilar. There's a left-footed shot, comes in! It just goes wide, bounced off that advertising hoarding, and ripples the net.
Good movement there. Well done by Miguel Aguilar. There was space in front of him. He attacked that space and then sent that shot on frame, and Fenlison having to dive at it. But if you are in a team like LA2, in a serious goal-scoring funk, having some major problems scoring goals, if a space and an opening presents itself like that, you have to attack it, and that's what Aguilar did. So you have to like the mentality and Miguel Aguilar when he took that shot.
Have a crack.
Exactly, yeah. Only one goal all season. If the space is there, go for it. Don't be, you got nothing to lose. You might as well go and attack the goal and see what happens. Wherever you can get those chances, go for it.
As Culbertson pushes on, the cross is sent in. Lopez coming out. It was awkward, and it was Barden who hit it first time, but it came off an LA Galaxy 2 defender last, but Lopez should probably be claiming that.
Yeah, he's got to be more confident in the air. I know punching can be more secure, safer for a goalkeeper, but you got to make sure you get contact on it and go for the ball, catch it in the air. And usually, if there is contact, a goalkeeper gets those calls in his favor. So being aggressive in the air and going for it, try to regain possession is a good way for a goalkeeper to behave in those situations.
It did come off Requejo last, so it will be a corner to be swung in by St. Louis. It is an Electro Savings corner to be swung in on the edge of the 6-yard area. It was on there for Valesky in the middle of that, but cleared by Los Dos out for another corner.
And set pieces defense is going to be very important for Los Dos, for LA Galaxy 2 here. Can't allow goals early.
Another Electro Savings corner. Teams based off these early stages might have a few of these.
Yeah, St. Louis definitely more dominant in attack so far.
As Culbertson lofts it in, it was dangerous on the edge of the 6-yard area, but once again, powerful clearance and dealt with by LA Galaxy 2, and they'll have a throw-in.
Yeah, St. Louis definitely the team showing that they are better organized in defense, obviously, but also in the attack as well. You can see the partnership of Hilton and Martz working very well. Valesky's had a chance. We've seen Calistri with a chance. So in terms of the attack, they look much more fluid, much more cognizant of what they're doing, have a better understanding of what they want to do in attack in this match.
Jonathan Barden, the captain. Played his first 2 professional seasons in Iceland. Last year with Ottawa Fury in USL. I'd love to see a map of players in USL, the countries in the world that they've played in. All over, you see, whenever you study the history of these players and where they've applied their trade.
We're talking about, what, at least 4 continents, right? I mean, North America, South America, Europe, Asia. Africa, Asia. So there's 5 continents, 5 continents. That's, if they get a player from Antarctica, then it's done. It's done. Yeah.
As the ball is playing to the channel for Austin Martz, it's low and towards Valesky. It was a cheeky little flick towards that back post, and it nearly came off for Christian Valesky.
This is a brilliant move once again by Valesky, but also that connection. This time it's Barden to Martz in the space, and Martz getting it to Valesky. But we've seen Austin Martz. This might be the 5th or 6th time in the first 20 minutes of this match. We've seen Austin Martz down the right side, that right middle channel, getting into space and attacking the LA Galaxy 2 penalty area and being able to either get a shot or square it for a teammate. You figure if they continue to give him the service, get him into space, a goal is going to fall for St. Louis, and it's going to come through Austin Martz.
And you do see with Jonathan Barden pushing up down that right-hand side, perhaps giving a little bit of space, pulling the left back out.
Yeah.
In that 3 in the back system, it is always interesting to see a 3 versus a 4, who sort of imposes their will on the other, and it does seem early stages like St. Louis is making life difficult for LA Galaxy 2 with the system change.
Well, the smart thing that Anthony Poulos did is he knew that LA Galaxy is struggling to score goals, which means you can have your team have more of the possession, and you could do that by playing 3 in the back. There was no, he's confident that LA Galaxy 2 are not going to be a threat in attack because of how few goals they've scored this year. So he said, okay, we'll play 3 in the back, we'll push Barden up into the attack, we'll make it a 5-man midfield, and with Valesky up top, they have a big target player, and they're going to dominate the possession. And it's a very smart tactical move by Anthony Poulos, knowing the weakness of his opposition, which is in attack scoring goals.
Just 2 other games in USL's Western Conference in action at the moment, as it's one in midfield there by Adrian Vera. And here's Ari Lassiter. It's an opportunity to go forward for LA Galaxy 2. First meaningful possession in the attacking third. Is this the attempted play in for Requejo, but a bit too far behind him. And Lewis Hilton can play it off Achimpong. At the moment, Rio Grande Valley 2, Seattle Sounders 2-1. RGV with goals through Zaldivar and Guillermo Delgado. Felix Jenkum with a goal in the opening minute of the match for Seattle Sounders 2, but they trail at the interval by 2-1. The ball is sprayed out long for Culbertson to chase. Can he get in ahead of it before it goes out of play? He cannot. Goal kick for Los Dos. Also in action, San Antonio taking on Orange County. So if any goals fly in from across the grounds in the Western Conference, we'll certainly let you know what is going on in the live table. St. Louis in 10th, LA Galaxy 2 in 15th of 17. So towards the bottom of the table. As we can tell you, this match is brought to you by Toyota. Be sure to visit one of the 7 local St. Louis area Toyota dealers.
St. Hooligans having some fun.
Good crowd in attendance tonight.
Yeah. St. Louis is historically a great sports town. I've never been to St. Louis, but I heard the Cardinals are well supported. Everyone you talk to about St. Louis sports, every team is well supported. So it's not a surprise that they're going to come out here and support this team.
And also rich in soccer tradition in terms of producing players to professional level without really, major league soccer presence in St. Louis or whatever it is. St. Louis, Scott Gallagher, that do a lot of that work, that own this club, providing opportunities to first-team football. It's always going to be a place that was going to be a hotbed and work in USL. You see it here tonight in the attendance. It has been cold in recent weeks. I saw Anthony Poulos last week crediting his fans for coming out despite it being such a cold night, as Roca can charge on. He has options. He'll play in Austin Martz! And it just whisked wide of that far post. Another glorious opportunity for St. Louis to open the scoring. Goes begging.
And the build-up from St. Louis is magnificent. Look at this ball here by Tony Roca. Look, he draws the defenders and then smooth little pass to Martz, and he tries to pass it. Oh, it just missed it by inches, millimeters, centimeters, whatever measurement system you want to use. But the buildup is fantastic. The pass by Roca, very calm on the ball, and then once the defenders commit to him, makes the pass to Martz, who has that wide open shot. Great buildup once again by St. Louis. The buildup for St. Louis has been excellent. It's the finishing that's been a little bit off.
Ari Lassiter catches Reynolds on the ball, but Tony Roca doing very good defensive work at the opposite end of the pitch to snuff out that opportunity.
And Lassiter out by himself on an island up top. He's not getting the service. He's trying to track back into the midfield to get more touches to help out. But just the passing for LA2 right now, LA Galaxy 2 just isn't crisp enough. They're not playing each other into spaces. They have players standing still, not moving much. That makes it very easy for St. Louis to defend.
You are watching this match on ESPN+. ESPN+ is the new streaming home of USL in the United States. Watch all action throughout the 2018 regular season USL Cup playoffs. Visit USLsoccer.com for more details. ESPN+ just signing on a couple of days ago. 30-day free trial available. Some of you perhaps watching on the 30-day free trial. Thank you for joining us this evening. As the cross is swung in the direction of Lassiter in the area coming forward trying to win it was Appiah, but well wide of Jake Fennelson's goal.
St. Louis now, 24 minutes in, they're getting the build-up, they are getting the chances, they're getting the shots. Now they have to put them away, because we've seen time and time again in the beautiful game, when a team is getting chances but they're not scoring, and then you get into the 75th minute, the 80th minute, and it's 0-0, and the team that's been getting peppered all game gets that one goal, and they come out with either a draw or the victory. So it's that old saying, the goals you don't score get scored on you. So St. Louis, over these next 10-15 minutes, the buildup has been great. They got to finish their chances, or else it could come back to get them later on and cost them a point or 3 in the later stages of this match.
Ball is sent long in the direction of Valesky, cut out by Arellano. And the referee in this match, Don Thibault, giving a free kick against St. Louis's Valesky. There he is. As you're right, George, for St. Louis, it has come back to bite them. A week ago, I thought they were pretty well on top of Fresno FC.
Yep.
Fresno get the goal just out of halftime, and they're dropping points. So for LA Galaxy 2, the problem is scoring, period.
Right.
For St. Louis, the problem is scoring multiple goals in a game. They scored 1 in each of their 4 fixtures and haven't been able to kick on and get that second. And so finding that extra step, and it really comes down to being clinical in front of goal.
Absolutely, and that's what separates those championship teams, those great trophy-lifting teams, from a team that can get to the playoffs. That one player or the 2 players that can finish those chances, who can get you those in USL play, 15 to 20 goals in league play. That's what makes those championship teams great. So 2 or 3 players, those 2 players who can finish those chances. St. Louis have players that can.
As Requejo takes a touch into the area, well dealt with there by Roca.
Yeah, St. Louis has great players that can build the attack, that can put together those clever passing movements and sequences to set up the goals. But it's just a matter of finishing them. That's that little bit extra that separates a playoff team from a championship team.
Oh, given away in midfield by Appiah, and charging forward again is Austin Martz. He's going to play in the run of Joey Calistri, and it took a deflection on the way through off an LA Galaxy defender. I'm not sure the referee saw it. That's what Calistri is motioning to. I thought it might have come off Appiah in the area, but in the end it is a goal kick.
Yeah, this is a ball won in the midfield off a turnover, and Martz once again leading the attack. Calistri was yelling in his ear. You can just see, because of the pass, you know Calistri's going behind you, or to the right, something to let Martz know that he was behind him and that he was making that run. And that's how Martz was able to, almost kind of a blind pass to get it to Calistri, but Calistri just missing wide. Maybe if he holds on a little bit, feints, those defenders just kind of slide past him, and then maybe he can curl it with his left. But they're getting into the area. They're getting consistent chances. That's all you can ask for. Now you just got to, well, actually, you can ask for more, which is actually finish those chances.
Goals.
Yeah, goals, exactly. Yep.
But they have been in at this LA Galaxy 2 defense. How can they kind of adjust and try and figure out ways to stop that supply?
Well, the LA Galaxy 2 defenders, the midfielders, are.
As Lassiter going to try and catch Fennelson up his line, and he clips the top of the bar.
Wow.
Ari Lassiter with a brilliant opportunity. And like you said, George, goals you don't score get scored on you, and Lassiter nearly making it 1-0 to the visitors.
This is very clever by Ari Lassiter. He turns around, sees that the goalkeeper may have been out of position. It actually gets past the hand of Fennelson. Just couldn't dip it under the bar. Why not go for it? Hey, like we've been saying all game, only 1 goal all season, and you see an opportunity like that, go for it. And he almost scored what would have been a brilliant goal.
Fennelson struggling with distribution out of the back. Veda cutting it out. Be a throw in for St. Louis.
But you were asking the question about how LA can improve defensively. Well, what they have to do is they have to get bodies back. They have to get numbers back. They aren't getting numbers back quickly enough. The transition defense of LA Galaxy 2 has not been good. And to credit St. Louis, they're passing the ball quicker. They have faster players, it appears to be, and they're getting that ball into space much better. But LA Galaxy 2 just have to get numbers back.
Requejo sending it long, but cut up by Fink. Valesky. Appiah winning it off of Hilton. Now Schultz will try and spring on the run of Miguel Aguilar, who's on that right-hand side for LA Galaxy 2 tonight. Represents tied for the oldest player in the team at 24. That makes you a senior veteran in this LA Galaxy 2 team.
24 years old is the oldest.
Yeah.
Man.
See that a lot with these 2 signs in USL.
Is that if he's the oldest, does he buy all the drinks? Because he's the
well, there are players in this team who can't buy drinks, so there's that. It's the ball and sent long over the top in the direction of Adrian Vera. Lassiter. Here's Achimpong. Can he carve out a shooting opportunity? He does. Fennelson was onto it, but spills it. And before Lassiter can pounce, he does claim.
Yeah, Fennelson just has to be fundamental on that shot. Just get his body in front of it. Off this turf, the bounces can be tricky. And especially the way Achimpong struck it with that left foot, put a little swerve on it. So he did a good job of just keeping it in front of him, keeping it away from going over the line into the back of the net. But we're seeing LA Galaxy 2, everything has been outside of the box. They just don't have, right now, they haven't been able to decipher the St. Louis defense and get players into the penalty area.
As the flag has gone up, acknowledged by the referee. Play was allowed to continue. Here's Hilton. Sam Fink. Sean Reynolds. We'll hear from him at halftime. The weekly Reynolds Wrap section. Taken down well by Kalister, and he's away around Schultz. As Rena Culbertson available, he'll play him in. Here's Kyle Culbertson. He'll whip the cross in. It was towards March. Valesky was the one who got to it. Culbertson going to try and chase down his own cross. And away by LA Galaxy 2.
LA Galaxy 2. The reason that space opened up was because they got caught pressing high, and they left a lot of space in the back. And Valesky gets his head onto it, but doesn't direct it towards goal. He did a great job of shaking off his marker and getting his head onto it. Just got it directed on goal.
I think he was trying to keep it in play.
Yeah.
Well, I knew from that range wasn't going to score as Culbertson tries to meg the defender Schultz. That was not happening. Hilton.
See, it looks like LA Galaxy 2, most of the time when a team is on the defense, they play that 4-4-2 defensively, and then whatever 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 when they go on attack. But LA Galaxy is not even doing that. It looks like the 4-2-3-1 defensively. And
that's a 4-5-1.
Yeah, 4-5-1. But it's not even a flat 4 or 5. It's one player up top, 2 and the 2 behind him, 3 behind that, and it's leaving all kinds of space in the back for St. Louis to exploit.
As Christian Valesky, who's turned in a solid performance in the opening half hour plus, does earn another Electro Savings corner for St. Louis.
Look out for Valesky here. He's been able to get his head on a couple of services. He figured he's got to be the target man here to try to get a goal and get this ball on frame.
He's doing the job of taking up the defender on the goal line as the corner is whipped in. Right in there was Sam Fink, but cut out. Lofted in again. Ockerford Lopez. Green shirts got to it, but did clatter into Lopez in the process. And it will be a free kick. You see Lopez grabbing for his hip after taking an awkward fall.
Yep. But this is why goalkeepers, when the ball is in the air, they have to be the aggressor, because anytime there's contact with a goalkeeper, especially in that 6-yard box, it goes in favor of the goalkeeper. So you have to like the fact that Lopez, if you're an LA Galaxy 2 fan, Lopez gets involved. He gets into that grinder of bodies in there and takes the foul. Obviously, hopefully he's not injured, but he was aggressive. He was seeking the ball. There was contact, and he won the ball back for his team. I wonder if the goalkeeping coaches tell him that. Said, look, anytime the ball is in the 6-yard box, go for it, because if there is contact on you, the vast, like 99% of the time, they're going to whistle the foul in your favor. So that's something that the goalkeepers can use to their advantage.
Eric Lopez starting his second match. 3 different goalkeepers this season so far for LA Galaxy 2. Justin Vom Stieg started on Wednesday night. Lopez, another LA Galaxy Academy product, making his 15th appearance for Los Dos. Has played at U.S. youth national team level with under 20 squads. The Galaxy just trying to turn their investment in their academy into professional players, using LA Galaxy 2 as a way to go and do that.
Youth academies are really the backbone of what could be a dynasty, a great team. We look at, I mean, Barcelona exploded in the 2000s because of the youth academy, because of Busquets, Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol, Messi, all coming through their youth academies. I mean, Bayern treble-winning team was the core of it was their youth academy team.
As Requejo has come forward, he'll swing the cross in towards Lassiter. Not too many to aim at for the white shirts in the penalty areas. Requejo again tries to play it on the edge and is able to win it back. Tries the outside of the boot shot, but never threatening Fennelson's goal.
Trying to connect through the middle there, but a bunch of St. Louis bodies there just to clog up the space. And once again, they had to take the shot from outside the area. They have you're not seeing any LA Galaxy 2 players even make a run into the penalty box to try to possibly set up a little carving pass into the middle. Nothing like that's going on. Everything is coming from the outside. And if you're the goalkeeper, Jake Fendelson, all you got to do is just see the ball clearly, and you'll be able to go over and make the save.
As Requejo will send it long in the direction of Vera. Easy work again for Fendelson. And you're mentioning the academy pathway for European teams has already happened in this country. New York Red Bulls making it to the Champions League semifinals in CONCACAF. Strength of players like Tyler Adams and Moyle, who came through, Sean Davis as well.
Yep. And the best part about the youth academy players is that they're a whole lot cheaper.
Yes, right. Particularly in a league like Major League Soccer, where they don't count against your salary cap.
Exactly.
If they're homegrown players. So.
Yep. The transfer fee, you don't have to worry about the big transfer fees and designated player and all that, as you mentioned. So and those players, not only that, the price, but there's a loyalty to the club. Like, okay, this is the club that gave me my chance as a professional. They saw that I had talent when I was 12, 13 years old, whatever age. And so there's a loyalty there that goes just beyond the paycheck. It's these people helped me to get to my dream of being a professional footballer. So I'll play harder for them than if another team picked me up for 8 million euros or dollars or whatever. So there's so much positive value from having a team in which the core is from the youth academy.
On turn there is Vera. Out wide for Schultz. The right-hand side is Aguilar, clipped in towards Ari Lassiter, but cut out. Achimpong will have a chance on the edge of the area, have a swing. Appeals for handball there from Achimpong. Lewis Hilton cut it out. Achimpong thinking illegally perhaps. Here's Boucher into the channel for Lassiter, into the penalty area. Able to keep it in play. Schultz. Play the 1-2. Try and get the return ball. Nearly came off there from Julian Boucher.
Yeah, first time we've seen LA Galaxy 2 with good, sustained possession in their attacking half with more than 4 or 5 passes. And St. Louis so far able to keep them at bay.
One well there on that right-hand side by Miguel Aguilar, the Sacramento native.
And see St. Louis, everybody's dropping back defensively. This is a team they know they can break quickly on the counterattack with Martz and Calistri. With Lewis Hilton distributing.
As Lassiter unable to keep it in play. Both of these teams missing the playoffs a year ago. St. Louis in the Eastern Conference a year ago. So basically just having to turn directions from east to west. Kind of in the center of the country, able to negotiate that a bit better than some of the other clubs perhaps having to switch conferences. So St. Louis into the west this year, entertaining LA Galaxy 2.
The great dividing line of the Mississippi River. Yes.
Apia nearly winning it there. He was actually on loan last season with St. Louis. Scored on his debut against Richmond Kickers. As Barden is played in on that right-hand side, came off of Requejo on the way through, and he actually goes down. Might have just gotten the air knocked out of him. Taking the brunt of that cross from Jonathan Barden.
Yeah, Requejo sacrificing his body for the defense team. Yeah, as you mentioned, Chris just got the air knocked out of him. So breathe it up and get back on his feet. Requejo been very busy down the left side of that LA Galaxy 2 attack, the right side of the St. Louis defense. And a good long ball to spring Barden through. It's been a variety of ways that they have been able to get into her attacking third. Short passes on the ground and then that long ball over the top.
As the Electro Savings corner swung in, and it goes wide. It came off Barden on that far post, and it went across the face of goal, and somehow not in the back of Eric Lopez's goal.
And we talked about the variety of ways they've been able to generate goal-scoring chances. Well, set piece and corners have been one. Oh, and you get the feeling this should have gone over the line into the back of the net. It's an outswinger to the far post. Lopez unable to kind of pick it off in midair there. It's well curled by Culbertson. Oh, and Lopez goes down trying to make the save and then leave that goal mouth wide open. And unfortunately for St. Louis, that's just, I believe that's got to be at least for the 7th, 8th time they've had a shot go wide. That's a tough first half for St. Louis in that respect.
Sean Reynolds. Select is the official soccer ball of USL. For the latest Select products, special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50.
Home field advantage. It's a beautiful thing.
Love seeing the fans having a go at the opposing players. That is another thing, too, for some of these younger players that you don't get playing academy football.
Yeah.
Is these atmospheres where St. Louis FC don't care much for your development.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the player on the other team.
Yeah, they don't care about development. They care about breaking you down. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure he wasn't asking him for his review of the new Cardi B album. That's for sure. They weren't asking him about that. That's for sure.
You don't think topical pop culture references were on the mind?
Nah. Dude, not at all.
Speaking of young players, there's Tomas Hilliard-Arce actually wearing the captain's armband today. #2 pick out of Stanford in MLS Super Draft. Winner of multiple national championships with the Cardinal. Sliding into that defensive line.
Oh, plus he went to Stanford, so if the football career don't work out, that degree will take him a long way.
Yes, there are other vehicles for him in life. As the ball is played into the channel for Austin Martz. He'll leave it for Barden. Kind of came awkwardly into the area, dealt with by Hilliard-Arce. Actually lingered in the air enough to stay in play. And Kavita leaving it for Sam Fink to try and play in Martz again, who's been the danger man once again. Him and Valesky have teamed up pretty well. There'll be a throw-in for St. Louis.
Austin Martz, I mean, we talked about last week. He put in a man of the match performance. He's on his path to doing it again this time. I know he had a couple of chances that he missed, but still, he's creating those chances. He has been an absolute nuisance to the LA Galaxy 2 defense.
Culbertson taking him down off the chest. Trying to whip it in past Schultz. And it came off him for a throw. LA2 this week getting 2 players back from red cards. A week ago against Orange County, 3-0 losers away from home and had 2 men sent off in the process. Playing down to 9 is never the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
As Boucher playing into the channel. And an opportunity here for LA2. Here's Ari Lassiter charging forward. He'll try the left-footed shot. And Fennelson with more than enough time to get down to his left.
And Lassiter finding that little bit of space and waiting for his opportunity. He's showing that he can create a little bit of a space for himself and then get a shot on frame. But once again, LA Galaxy 2 taking a shot from outside. That's been their only real chance at scoring a goal in this match, is from outside the penalty area. They have not been able to get inside the penalty area except for a couple of crosses, and even then, St. Louis has been there to head him out and keep him from turning into goal-scoring chances.
Here's Martz charging forward again. The cross comes in. Arriving on the back post was Culbertson, able to at least keep it in play. Away by Hilliard-Arce. Dealt with by Aguilar. Now counter-attacking opportunities on Boucher, nearly playing it towards Lassiter, and a handball is given there against Sean Reynolds.
And Boucher's a name we've called maybe twice in this first half. He was the player that we were expecting for LA to hold up the ball a little more, give them a little more possession, be the player that their attack flows through. But he's seen very little of the ball, mainly because St. Louis have done a good job of holding the ball themselves, and they have just completely marked him out of the match. I mean, Achimpong and Apia getting a lot of touches, and they've been ineffective in terms of generating the attack for LA. So keeping the ball away from Boucher has been a key for St. Louis to keep that 0 next to LA's name so far.
Achimpong. Into the channel there for Emmanuel Apia with a minute before first half stoppage time. Schultz. Miguel Aguilar. Decent run of possession here for LA Galaxy. Do as Boucher will play the cross, and Lassiter trying to use both feet to kind of bamboozle the defender and flicked it towards the byline. And didn't quite come off for him in the end, as we will have a minute to be added on here at the end of this first half. Opportunity on here for LA Galaxy 2. Lassiter playing Achimpong. If he can get his foot around, the cross is sent in. Arriving there was Boucher. Dealt with well by Sam Fink.
And see what happened there. Lassiter dropping deep. That allowed Boucher to go through.
There's an awkward touch there from Hilton. Nearly left it on there for the LA2 player. Here's Barden. And it came off a white shirt last. It'll be a throw in here for St. Louis.
See Barden and Requejo. They're starting to get into it. Some shoulder and elbows being thrown between those two. And Requejo.
Yeah, awkward again there. And
yeah,
going down was Requejo.
But him and Barden were trading little elbows and some contact up the pitch there. Little physical contact between the two, little pushing and shoving between those two. Requejo tried to go to the ground and get Barden a yellow card or a foul or something, and didn't quite work, but at least LA2 get the possession.
Attempted back heel attempt there for Vera. He can still play with Boucher. And Aguilar. And Schultz. Should be nearing the whistle for the end of the first half. Referee looks at his watch. Ball Thibault, and Apia is allowed to play towards the area in the direction of Lassiter. Cut out well. And finally, the first half whistle goes. Opportunities aplenty for St. Louis. The best fall into the feet of Austin Martz in that first half. But Ari Lassiter nearly caught Jake Vendelson off his line, and his shot clipped the crossbar. We are into Hollywood Casino halftime. Halftime is brought to you by the Hollywood Casino St. Louis. Your score at the half, it is St. Louis FC 0, LA Galaxy 2-0. Stay tuned at the half for your first half highlights coming up, as well as a look around the news and notes in USL. Stay tuned here on ESPN+.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look.
There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
This is my Toyota RAV4. My wife and I love it for so many reasons. Fold-down seats, cargo space for days, and the best part, hands-free liftgate. We can literally open the trunk with our feet. And for that flexibility, I give my RAV4 5 oversized bags.
Tested, trusted, Toyota. Lease a new 2018 RAV4 for $259 per month, or get 0% APR plus $500 bonus cash. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
St. Louis trying to get control. And in control instead, the net is left open, and it's a goal for Kyle Gregg. The keeper way off the line, and Gregg made it pay.
Ball sent in, and it finds a home early for St. Louis.
And that is what's coming up next week. Right now, though, it's St. Louis at home to LA Galaxy 2 with a bevy of chances, but still 0-0 at the half. It's time for our Reynolds Wrap. The training regimen for a professional footballer is all about routine. What about after training? A typical day for St. Louis FC defender Sean Reynolds after he leaves the pitch is the subject of this week's edition of Reynolds Wrap.
Another episode of Reynolds Wrap. Just got done with practice. Gonna go let my little man out. I know a lot of people have heard me talk about my dog. His name's Colo. We're gonna meet him here in a second. Got some mail. I know it's in here. Can't wait. Can't see my code. Be ready. He's wild. Hello. Hey, come here. Wow, look at him. There he is. What's up, man? You say hi? This is my apartment. Take you on a quick tour. Couch, TV. Hey, it's okay. This is his side of the couch. That's why we got the blanket down so he doesn't get it all dirty. I don't have a dining room table. Gives me and the little guy more room to play and foam roll and stretch out in this area. Kitchen, that good whiskey, 2017 USL Cup. Some fruit, veggies and stuff in the fridge. Probiotics back here in the back. Turkey bacon. This is what came in the mail. Jersey with my star on it. Hopefully get one for St. Louis this year. All right, Colo? Back here to the bedroom. I didn't make my bed this morning. I slept in, so he jumps up here and messes up the bed anyway, so. Hey, you wanna go play? Little Slick Rick, children's story. Pull the windows down, the little guy. Usually we walk up here, but it's a little cold and Champions League's on, so we gotta get in, get out. Let's go. This dude is so strong. Look at him, he likes to dance. Ready? Oh. Every now and then, he'll like veer off and he'll like go to a tree. He'll try and find a squirrel. He's gonna poop. See, called it. Good boy, good boy. You sit? You sit? Good boy. I guess you could say like our daily thing. Colo actually has a torn ACL in his back right leg, but it's like very slight. Ha, you're too smart. Colo, this is what I do when I come home. I play with this, take this guy out to play. Hey, give me that, give me that. That's it for Reynolds Wrap this time. Hope to see you guys soon, whether it's out at Soccer Park or you're cheering us on from at home. Catch you later. Give me that ball, give me that ball, give me the ball. Get it. You destroy your ball. I don't have anything to play with.
And that was this week's Reynolds Wrap. Chris Whittingham, George DiMattelis on commentary for St. Louis FC playing host to LA Galaxy 2. Chances for either teams, but the majority of the play going the way of St. Louis FC. We'll show you the first half highlights coming up in a moment. But first, let's hear from USL President Jake Edwards.
We're being joined today by Jake Edwards, President of the USL. Just getting ready to kick off an exciting 2018 season. Jake, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So, Jake, the expansion this year has brought a large group of new owners to the USL to complement this already very strong base of ownership that we've seen that's really led to the success of the league. Talk about the USL ownership group and what these new folks are bringing.
Many of our owners, I'd say the vast majority of our owners now, have owned and operated sports organizations in multiple different leagues. They bring with them a real understanding of the economics of sport, what's required in terms of an investment level in the facilities, in the community, in all the different programs that our teams run. So for me, it's a privilege to get to work with all of these very experienced businessmen and women on a daily basis, and I'm just constantly thrilled by the commitment and investment they have into their local communities and ultimately into our sport. The new owners that are joining our league now are coming in every year with bigger ambitions. For us, we continue to drive value from a business point of view. The model continues to attract more and more sophisticated owners into the league, and that's something that we believe will have such a positive impact on the future of this league and the new initiatives that we want to embark upon.
Last year we surpassed 2 million in attendance. Talk about what your expectations are for this season and in terms of attendance at live games and just overall awareness of the league.
Yeah, our fans are the lifeblood of this league, as they are for every league. We've seen the support for our clubs grow exponentially. We're already significantly ahead of where we were this time last year on average per club for season tickets. I think it speaks to the excitement. It speaks to what's happening in the local communities. It speaks to all of the things we're trying to do. Building new stadiums, creating more exciting, authentic environments. Attracting better players, having a more competitive and compelling league. I think it's, at least for the league office here, a substantial investment in content production. And infrastructure around the broadcast, around the digital and social. And so we take great pride in growing that area of the business and engaging with the fans from a team point of view and a league.
And we're back here from St. Louis FC from the Toyota Stadium. 0-0 between St. Louis and LA Galaxy 2 as we continue a look around the news and notes in USL. Let's start first with our USL Goal of the Week. We'll kind of run through Goal of the Week, Save of the Week, and we must start with Nashville SC. Look at this cutback here onto his left, bending it into that far corner, and Nashville SC getting a solid bit of production there en route to a victory over Charlotte Independence.
This is a fabulous goal, cutting it back, left-footed bending effort. Anybody that comes and plays on the right, you always have to be aware of their ability to come back to the left. Great goal there.
Alan McQueen getting it done there. And there you see the penalty save for Indy 11's Owen Von Williams, diving to his right and preserving the points for the visitors.
That's a great save there. Wasn't a poorly taken penalty kick either. He just dove and made the right play.
And here is the work here from our player of the month. I mean, it starts first in a blizzard. You can't even make out who is who in the middle of all this. And you see there incredible work from New York Red Bulls 2 in the month here, and also away to Bethlehem Steel. And it was absolutely fantastic for the USL Player of the Month this week. And that was Carlton Belmar for Swope Park Rangers, doing brilliant work over the course of the opening month of the season. It's 0-0 between St. Louis FC and LA Galaxy 2 in Hollywood Casino halftime on ESPN+.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to theelectricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. you can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce. Your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
This is my Toyota RAV4. My wife and I love it for so many reasons. Fold-down seats, cargo space for days, and the best part? Hands-free liftgate. We can literally open the trunk with our feet. And for that flexibility, I give my RAV4 5 oversized bags.
Tested, trusted, Toyota. Lease a new 2018 RAV4 for $259 per month, or get 0% APR plus $500 bonus cash. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
St. Louis trying to get control, and in control instead, the net is left open, and it's a goal for Kyle Gregg. The keeper way off the line, and Gregg made it pay.
Ball sent in, and it finds a home early for St. Louis.
Once again, at the half of the Toyota Stadium, it is St. Louis FC 0, LA Galaxy 2-0. Let's get straight into our first half highlights from this one. Chris Winningham, George DiMattelis with you as we are in the Hollywood Casino halftime. And with St. Louis, who had a majority of the play, Christian Valesky doing solid work there, hitting the outside of Eric Lopez's goal.
Yeah, he saw that little crack, that little opening, trying to get it past Lopez. He had Martz in the middle, but decided to go for goal. Martz had himself an excellent first half. Look at this attempt here. Great through ball by Lewis Hilton, and tried to square it. Probably took a deflection, and that allowed Lopez to make the save. And then the service here, and punched out by Lopez, and then we saw Barden try to get it back into the middle. Barden was very effective down the right side of the attack as well. But it was Barden and Martz specifically who were the main threats. Clever little backheel attempt there by Valesky. In St. Louis, you felt that maybe they were going to get the goal because they just had so many chances going forward, and LA Galaxy making so many mistakes in the middle.
And here was probably the best of the lot. Tony Rocca winning the ball midfield, playing in Austin Martz, whose shot somehow goes wide. You look at the trajectory of that shot, and it seems impossible that it went just outside of that post.
Oh, and the spin of the ball has it going wide, but just missed it. It's a tough break for Austin Martz. And then he tries to set up Calistri, and Calistri going wide as well. Achimpong with a bending effort here, and Venlison does well to keep it out, but it has been a tough first half for St. Louis, mainly because they just haven't been able to finish, and all the shots from LA Galaxy 2 coming from outside the area.
Ari Lassiter also caught Jake Venelson off his line, tried the lofted effort that bounced off the top of the crossbar, as well as have a look at the stats, even in terms of possession, but you can just tell from the highlight package that we just saw the majority of the chances were St. Louis FC, and they had by far the better chances.
Yeah, the possession numbers do not tell the story of how dominant St. Louis Football Club was in the first 45 minutes. Yes, LA Galaxy toward the end came on a little bit, but it really was St. Louis controlling the flow of the game, getting the majority of the real dangerous goal-scoring chances. And for the second half, all they have to do is finish them. If they finish them, they can win this game.
And those are the opportunities from the first half highlights. St. Louis FC will feel a bit hard done by. It's going to be a similar refrain from Anthony Poulos. You'd think if the game continues on this way. It's happened a few times to them in the last few games where 2 weeks ago it was, well, we couldn't get that second goal. A week ago it was, well, we couldn't get that second goal. And I feel like there are times where the St. Louis side have the balance of the play, but they don't take their chances.
Yeah, it's going to hurt them in the long run if they don't find a way to consistently finish their chances. It's a very simple formula. That's really the only thing they need to improve upon in the second half is their finishing. Their defense was strong, mainly because the possession that they had was very meaningful and deep into the LA Galaxy 2 half of the defensive half of the field. So possession-wise, even though it was 50-50, the possession was much better for St. Louis, and defensively they were able to maintain those lines, and they just have to finish their chances. It really is that simple in this particular match for St. Louis.
Bit of an odd sight there. It was the last onto the field were actually the officiating crew from the halftime locker room. Don Thibault and his crew now out, and we're just about ready to go for this second half.
Probably had some good hot chocolate lattes in the locker room. They're like, I'm not coming out just yet. And they're free.
Give us a moment.
Yeah.
Is starting to warm up across the country. Still see plenty of winter wear in the crowd in St. Louis. As see that bit more and more now, the pump fake start to a second half as Lewis Hilton does indeed get us started here. LA Galaxy wearing the all-whites, going from left to right. St. Louis and their captain Jonathan Barton going to play in Austin Martz here into the area. Can they carve a quick opportunity? It's lofted towards Calistri, and it's in! And finally, St. Louis FC have taken advantage of an opportunity in less than a minute after the halftime interval. They lead by a goal to nil.
And some slicing, passing by St. Louis, and Martz is the one that is at the heart of it. The little ball he plays out wide to Barton, and then the chip by Barton to Calistri, who is unmarked, is sensational. But it's that ball right there. It's the Martz pass to Barton. That little touch after Martz was able to win the ball, and then Calistri is unmarked. Look at no one around him for about 4 or 5 yards, and then he comes in and he scores. So that's the replay of the St. Louis FC goal delivered by Domino's and Joey Calistri just to start the second half.
What a brilliant opportunity. It just kind of came quickly. Long ball sent in, and Barton lofting it on that back post in the direction of Calistri, who made no mistake. As the second half now carries on here with Los Dos trying to get something started. And St. Louis FC finally have the balance of the play rewarded with the 1-0 on the scoreboard.
But once again, it comes down that right middle channel with Martz and Barton connecting, and then the good ball by Barton over the top to Calistri. But it's been Martz, Barton, Lewis, and Martz and somebody making those passes to create the dangerous goal-scoring opportunities.
See, continued good work by Christian Valesky, that number 9, and he'll play here for St. Louis. Decent, intricate football there, but cut out by Julian Boucher. And St. Louis finding the goals tonight without Corey Herzog, who scored the penalty last week, Kyle Gregg, who scored twice, as well as it does seem like Hugo Arellano was playing the ball out on account of an injury. See there, looks like maybe a little bit of cramp on that right-hand side for Miguel Aguilar. Let's get a look here. Ooh. Oh, no, that was awkward. It just seemed like a step on the foot of Aguilar. I think that's what happened there.
Might have been a little overextension there.
Yeah.
Oof. Those look painful.
Does seem okay to carry on as St. Louis will now do the gentlemanly thing of letting Culbertson throw the ball back to LA2. I think. Seems like Valesky was a bit too close to Hilliard Arce for the intended effect of that, but it does indeed go to Eric Lopez. So your official confirmation there of the goal. The team that beat Los Dos a weekend ago, Orange County SC lead by a goal to nil in San Antonio. Koji Hashimoto with the goal for OCSC.
If this was the Blues versus the Kings, Austin Martz would have got an assist on that play. But
for the hockey assist.
For the hockey assist, yes. I mean, it's important. Obviously, that final touch by Barton is important, but
I almost feel like hockey assists should be a thing in football as well.
Soccer. I agree. Yeah, because sometimes it's the pass to the pass that leads to the goal is just as important
100%
as the pass itself, as the last pass.
As Arellano unable to deal with it now, Hilliard Arce coming across to mark Austin Martz. Played on the edge of the area between Valesky and Roca, but cut out well there by Nate Schultz. But he's dispossessed. An opportunity for St. Louis. Culbertson tried to poke it through for Roca. It's still on. He slides in to try and win the ball back. But Aguilar, who appears to be okay, will play here through Achimpong. Just a bit too close to Fanuel Cavita. In the direction of Adrian Vera. The 21-year-old in the team was actually the Los Dos Player of the Year a year ago. 6 goals and 2 assists for LA Galaxy 2.
Once again, you see LA Galaxy 2 struggling to just put together more than 3 or 4 passes going forward. And that is just killing their attack. They just can't get enough possession, hold on to possession enough. And when they were able to do that toward the end of the first half, they looked more dangerous, but still couldn't get into the penalty area. St. Louis's defense has been very well organized tonight.
Maybe a change necessitated here as Aguilar is down once again You mentioned, George, a little bit of a hyper extension there in that challenge earlier. Maybe that's just about what it was. See there, the trainer perhaps checking the stability of everything. As some options available for Mike Munoz, the LA Galaxy 2 manager, Ethan Zubak, Frank Lopez, Ulysses Llanes on the bench. It does seem like we are going to get a change. It's Ulysses Llanes Jr. who will come on for Aguilar. So the 17-year-old come on for the 24-year-old. Ulysses Llanes making his 4th appearance of the campaign, 3rd as a substitute. As this substitution is brought to you by G&W Meats. Llanes Jr., a U.S. Youth International, also played in France at youth level and with, against France with U20s in a European competition against the France youth national team and against an Atletico Madrid youth team as well. So an internationally traveled youth player, now getting some professional experience. Made his debut for the club last August against Phoenix, so very young player. Still not quite the youngest in the team for LA2 to make his debut, not in the 18 tonight, but Efrain Alvarez in his debut for Los Dos, age 15 and 3 months.
Wow. Professional footballer.
And this is, I think this is something that's going to end up being mortifying for broadcasters across America. Once you start seeing birth dates in the year 2000.
Oh, yeah.
Once that birth date starts with the number 2,
yeah,
I think we're all going to feel very old.
Oh, yeah.
And certainly Ulysses Llanes would fit in that category, age 17.
I had my nephew ask me the other day, how did y'all watch videos when you were a kid?
Oh,
they didn't have
God.
YouTube. And I was like, we had TV shows that played the videos.
Yes.
Oh, God, I was like, I'm so old. You know, it gets really bad when you have to pluck hair out of your ears, but I'm sorry, we won't go there. Never mind.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
As it's played back for Culbertson. Available near that corner. One back, though, by Nate Schultz. Might go in the category of too much information,
Yeah,
George.
sorry about that, yo. Yeah.
Schultz will play along in the direction of Lassiter, who stays up top. Frank Lopez, more of an out-and-out number 9 available on the benches. Llanes tries to chase. And Vera will play. Apia. Vera. And the Ghanaian again. Can LA2 play decent run of possession here? Goes through the legs and marks for Achimpong. Sprayed out wide for Requejo.
And they did a good job of not getting pinned on that sideline there. It looked like we're going to be out 3 or 4 St. Louis players.
Achimpong is dispossessed as marches away. Advantage is played. If he can just get the cross off. It is attempted towards Valesky, but cut up by Arellano.
And I think the referee did a good job. Don Tebow did a good job of letting the play go because it looked like Achimpong, well, it not looked like it was. Achimpong pulled the arm of Martz.
Ball is sprayed out wide here for Culbertson, but he was off. Sends it into the adjacent field before the evening is turned into a parking lot.
This complex has some well-manicured, very nice-looking soccer pitches there that could help grow the sport. This is a great little complex.
This isn't just a stadium, you know, kind of in the middle of nowhere. This is a full-fledged soccer complex that hosts youth football in the area and has the decently sized stadium for St. Louis FC matches. The Toyota Stadium.
Anyone who says that soccer football, I call it football soccer, is not growing and doesn't really know the game, because it is getting more and more popular every week, every year. I mean, you figure pretty soon it might level the popularity of American football or basketball. I think it's getting close to those levels.
I think people expect an explosion when it's incremental improvement.
Yes, yeah.
And I think you actually see a lot of it in USL. I mean, obviously, Atlanta United drawing 70,000 people to a football stadium is incredible, but I think seeing the grassroots growth of clubs like St. Louis FC, even Los Dos, I mean, there's enough demand to go and watch them play that they added stands this year and added to the capacity of the StubHub Track and Field Center outside of StubHub Stadium so that fans can go watch Los Dos. I mean, certainly a league that is growing, and you see signs of it all over the country.
Yeah, and you're giving young kids, young American kids, options on where they want to play.
Pathways into professional football.
Yeah, for sure. And what I like about football, soccer in America especially, is that there is a certain stability with the leagues, especially financially. I mean, we could talk about pay disparity and all that, but there is a stability in terms of paying, so that players from the Caribbean, players from South America, from Central America can come to the United States.
From Africa, we have a few Africans in the team for LA Galaxy.
Yep, Africa as well can come to the States, and there's a certain security in playing for these teams in the United States in these leagues. So I'm telling you, MLS, USL has the potential to be one of the powerful leagues in all of world football.
Playing out here is Sam Fink. Does at least get it to go off of Adrian Vera in the end. As we did see last season, LA Galaxy 2 struggle. Both these teams failing to make the playoffs. And a large part of that was a lot of the squad graduating up to LA Galaxy. Jack McBean, the Villarreal brothers, Jose and Jaime, Raul Mendiola, Nathan Smith. And a lot of them ended up parting ways with LA Galaxy this offseason. It's one of the things that, for a club that's had the success that LA Galaxy has had, you want to start bringing through some local kids. Jossie Zard is probably the best example of that in the moment, but trade in the offseason to Columbus Crew for Ola Kamara.
You talk about Jack McBean. McBean was a player that was a good goal scorer in USL, someone who can get you 15, 20 goals a season for LA Galaxy 2 during his time there. So you lose a player like that, you lose players like that, it's hard to recover and maintain a high level and consistently get into the playoffs, or at least be considered a playoff threat.
This ball might have just come off of Culbertson's arm, but it is a throw-in for Los Dos. Shoot, upon arriving in the league, had plenty of playoff success in terms of getting in. First 3 years in the playoffs, were USL runners-up in 2015. But last year with that player exodus, and wasn't able to turn things over under the former academy coach Mike Munoz. Just towards the bottom of the Western Conference. They've certainly struggled out of the gate this season. Scored just the one goal in this their 6th match. Over 500 minutes of play and just the one goal.
And scoreless in their last 3 games as well. I mean, it's tough for LA Galaxy too. The midfield play has to be a little bit cleaner, but you figure with the way Mike Munoz coaches that it'll get better as the season progresses.
Acres of space for Barden on that right-hand side. He'll whip in the cross as he did for the opening goal. Culbertson was arriving on the back post, but he might have just been put off by Calistri.
That's what it looked like. Calistri looked like he was going to try and attempt the overhead kick. And he saw Culbertson coming, so he pulled back. And Culbertson, thinking that Calistri was going to go with the overhead kick, himself pulled back and couldn't get a clean shot on frame there, clean contact. But still, St. Louis, they've taken their foot off the pedal, the accelerator, a little bit. I hate to use cliches, but that's the only phrase I could think of. They've slowed down, and that's allowed LA Galaxy 2 to get back into this game, or at least get a little more possession.
Opportunity for Lassiter trying to cut it back, but Tony Roca cutting out. Particularly, I mean, they might have continued on playing a fairly attacking style, but they got the goal inside of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so it does allow you to kind of dial the gears back a little bit, as Culbertson able to win the ball there. Going down was Vera, but pretty delayed fall, so the referee not having much of it. Vera will stay down. Culbertson will continue to play. Any space again in the center of the park for Austin Martz. Off to this left-hand side for Calistri. They wanted Nate Schultz, wanted Culbertson a bit further forward, but you see perhaps a bit more conservative, those wing backs here in the second half. St. Louis does stay in the 3-5-2 look.
Yep. CLA, they're still trying to press a little bit high, but it's not that aggressive of pressing, especially in the hour mark. it's difficult to sustain that intense pressing. And what's happened? They're leaving holes in that second line of defense, if you will, right before that back line. That's what St. Louis has been able to exploit throughout this match. But some sloppy midfield ball handling has been their undoing in this match. But they're only down a goal, and we've seen teams come back from a goal down often. So St. Louis, they need a couple of goals here to really secure the points.
As finally the whistle does sound as Valesky took a tumble. Tony Rocca thought about taking a quick free kick, but they're going to go ahead and try and settle and play a ball into the penalty area. There's Anthony Poulos watching on. You know that he'd want his side to get a second goal in this one. A fifth consecutive game with the goal, but never two in a match this season for St. Louis. And just to secure a second set of 3 points on the campaign. Perhaps come off a set piece, but would be vital for Poulos' men to get that goal.
I think next training session for St. Louis, they're going to focus on finishing, because they could have had 2 or 3 goals in that first half.
As Culbertson and Hilton over, as Culbertson will just send the shot well over the bar. Could also just perhaps put 1-0 on the scoreboard in training and sort of tell the team to play on from there, because that's really been, it's getting that second. And Anthony Poulos has talked about those opportunities, but maybe we just see the gears dialing back a little bit. Maybe those wing backs don't push as far on until maybe the opposing team equalizes. But St. Louis had to figure out a way to get that second goal in these matches.
Well, in this match specifically, I think what has happened is St. Louis, they've seen themselves get so many chances that they feel like they can just kind of, okay, now that we got the goal,
we're well on top.
Well on top, exactly. So they can slow down a little bit, because they know that if they need to turn it back on, they can, because they've been able to consistently threaten the LA Galaxy 2 goal. So with that lead and the fact that they've had a lot of chances, they've relaxed a little bit, and that's the dangerous mentality to have when you're a team that, as you mentioned, they haven't been able to score more than 1 goal in a game. You have to keep that intensity going, keep that pressure, keep that ruthlessness, so you can get a second and third goal and win the match.
They don't quite have the attacking options off the bench as well tonight.
Yeah.
Calistri and Valesky have mainly served as that this year, but Kyle Gregg, Corey Hertzog out injured. They have managed well in terms of having the depth to replace really their 2 leading men up top in Hertzog and in Kyle Gregg, with Calistri and Valesky turning in solid performances tonight, but perhaps not that creative inspiration off the bench to maybe come on and make that difference.
Yeah, for a game like this against LA Galaxy 2, who are struggling defensively, struggling to score goals, having or not having Gregg and Hertzog, you can probably get away with it. But against some of the other teams they'll be facing, they need that depth. They need those 2 either starting or on the bench to give them that attacking depth so that they can pick up goals and pick up points. So it's tough for St. Louis, but if there's any team they can play at this point of the season without Gregg and Hertzog, LA Galaxy 2 coming in is good timing.
And a 3rd consecutive home game as well.
Yeah.
Getting to build that continuity. Also, in fairness to LA2, they did play in midweek as St. Louis did not. So a rest difference, as it's a forced clearance there from Lopez after the back pass was a bit too soft, hung him out to dry. As Martz able to ward off Apia. Rocca poking it through, trying to have it play out to Culbertson. Does end up with the ball anyway, as the cross is lofted in, arriving on the back post. Nobody in green. Requejo just letting it come out. Lofted in towards Valesky. Seems like the wind might be playing a bit of a role there. Difficulty tracking the ball. A counter-attacking opportunity, although for LA2, as Boucher unable to settle it. But Reynolds can.
That's well done by Lewis Hilton. Number 8 tracking back.
Lost though in midfield. An opportunity is on here. Here's the substitute Janes into the penalty area. Coming across him was Reynolds. It's down for Ulysses Janes, who had a swing at it. But Reynolds again recovering and forcing the corner.
Ooh, Reynolds having to track back. Lost the duel the first time, but was able to get back and make that play defensively. But that started with a mistake in the midfield. It looked like it was Martz losing the ball and then standing and complaining to the referee, and that allowed LA Galaxy to burst through into that space. This is a good opportunity for them to get equalizer.
As Boucher will loft it in, Fennelson off his line and confidently claiming. As Fennelson wanted to start the counterattack.
And that's what you want your goalkeeper to do on corner kicks when that ball gets into the 6-yard area, is to attack that ball. And as you mentioned, confidently claim it. That's what he did. It's all about confidence for goalkeepers at that point, in those situations, I should say.
Schultz turning and booting away.
And this 3-man back line for St. Louis has worked very well. I think they've executed it very well. Getting a lot of possession, able to keep LA Galaxy 2 at bay for the most part. Clogging up that midfield, not allowing LA Galaxy 2, because of that, the 5-man midfield, not allowing them to cleanly pass their way to the attacking third into their attack.
As again, Valesky trying to put that back line under pressure. He is able to play, waiting for green shirts to join him in the attack. Valesky for St. Louis. One of just a few players returning from the team a year ago, scored 8 times in 30 appearances last season for St. Louis. There are 5 players to come back. Cavita. Arellano heading away, but straight for Lewis Hilton.
Hilton having the dribble, not much in terms of options going forward.
Reynolds doing well as the ball is clipped in the direction of Calistri. He has an opportunity to send the cross and into the area. It is lofted in the direction of Martz. Off the other side, Barden tried to take it on the volley, but kind of bounced awkwardly before he had a swing at it.
Oh, that's a great ball over the top by Culbertson, though. Culbertson sending that ball into space for Calistri. And then Roca was asking for it a little bit earlier. And then Barden just blasting it through. Barden had a little time to settle it and make a better choice, or at least settle it and then get a good shot, a better shot on frame. But that ball over the top by Culbertson to send through to Calistri was excellent. And Calistri couldn't keep the ball on, trying to get it to Valesky in the middle, but Tony Roca was there in the area as well. If he kind of make a diagonal pass instead of squaring it, Roca would have been able to one-time it onto frame.
Culbertson cut out by Boucher, but back to the goalkeeper. See Lostos pressing up a little bit, trying to win the ball back. Putting these defenders under pressure. Good challenge in there from Apia. And now Roca. Options either side. Plays in Valesky. On the turn, we leave it for Jonathan Barden. The low cross is sent in. Calistri arriving and going for his second. Unable to direct it on the target.
Oh, well done by St. Louis, picking out the right passes, playing the ball out wide into space. I thought Roca, he had a lot of green in front of him, but he was being unselfish, and so he got it to Valesky. And I think Valesky's touch, that first touch wasn't quite right, and that allowed LA that extra second or two to get those bodies back into space. But still, good attacking football going forward by St. Louis.
Another opportunity for Valesky on the left. Came off Hilliard Arce, appeals for handball. Referee not interested. Martz. Heavy touch there from Hilton allows Lostos to play out. A decent ball into the channel for Adrian Vera. Sliding and heavy challenge coming in from Culbertson. There's a throw in for LA2.
And Culbertson doing an excellent job there. It was a great ball by Lassiter, as you mentioned. And Vera waiting for the touch onto it, and Culbertson beating him to the ball. I think they're saying he fouled Vera there.
He's protesting because of how late the call came, but it is indeed a free kick for LA Galaxy 2.
But to be honest, it's actually a good foul because it slows the counterattack down. It allows St. Louis to get back and regroup for defense.
As Boucher sends the ball in. Put up by the offender Culbertson.
And he didn't get a yellow, so.
Lucy John is to run at defenders. He'll try the left-footed cross. Fennelson trying to keep it in play, but it had long gone out for a corner.
And you see LA, they were trying to press up high because they've struggled building from the back, building through the midfield. So if you can't generate chances from the back, you press high, try to get a quick turnover, and then you can go forward there. You get possession deep in your attacking third, and then you can get a goal-scoring opportunity that way.
See multiple white shirts heading over to take the corner, and you see with the wind, the ball does appear to be rolling there as it is taken short. Opportunity for the cross is whipped in. Emerging from that pack was Culbertson, not the tallest, but cutting out John Requejo's cross. Giannis and the left back Requejo again. Boucher. Julian Boucher, the German. Generation Adidas player to DC United in 2016. 27 MLS appearances for them. A youth national team player with Germany. Here's Vera. Play it into the channel. And Reynolds is going to watch it out of play.
Another great country to learn how to play football is Germany. If I had kids, I'd send them to the Netherlands, Germany, or Brazil to learn how to play the game.
Belgium's not bad either.
Yeah, Belgium is pretty good too. Yep.
Nice generation of young players. As it's blonde for blonde, so Frank Lopez will come on, and Jeffrey Achimpong will come on. The substitution is brought to you by G&W Meats. So it is the Cuban Frank Lopez, who did come through the Miami Soccer Academy, after making his way over to the States from Cuba. They play youth national team football for Cuba.
I think it's safe to say that neither Achimpong or Lopez are natural blondes. Just going to say that.
But yet, for our purposes, unmistakable.
Yes, yes. It always helps us as broadcasters when people have different color hair. It makes it a lot easier.
People give a lot of stick to Paul Pogba for having a different hairstyle, a different hair color before every game.
Yeah.
The people who are most appreciative of that are the commentators.
Absolutely.
That are picking out players from wherever it is that they're commentating from. You will not miss Paul Pogba, and you will not miss Frank Lopez.
Yes, for sure.
As Hilton able to maintain here for St. Louis. Won well by Valesky in the air. Barden on the overlap will send the cross in. Dealt with well there by Hilliard Arce. It's actually kind of funny. I imagine maybe 15 years ago, maybe someone wearing orange boots or yellow boots would really stand out from a massive body's wearing black. And now it almost, if you're wearing regular black Adidas cleats, you know, it's almost like you're the exception.
Yes.
As everyone running around out there is wearing orange and red.
Yes.
Like Sean Reynolds wearing black cleats.
Yep.
They're you know, they're the originals, and yet in this case they're almost the standouts.
Yeah, it is football has become fashion.
Indeed.
It has become fashion, and so you got to find a way to. Everybody's trying to stand out, but in the end, they all blend in. You know, like Martz is wearing red boots, Roca is wearing red boots. So, but it's the fashion. You know, it's the fashion, and its self-expression is beautiful. That's the beauty of football. One of the beauties of football.
As Kavita will send it towards Valesky, taken out here on the edge of the area by Calistri. Tried to play in the run of Culbertson, but it was a small window. Was trying to play it through and cut out. Hilliard Arce to no one in particular. Now for a throw.
We've seen over the course of this match, Calistri kind of float out wide. That has allowed Valesky more room to operate up top, but also gives a little bit of more space for Austin Martz to break through up top as well.
Fink forced to send long. Taken off the chest by Lopez. Has the run of Giannis available on this left-hand side. Will try and play him in, but a bit too heavy.
Yeah, I think he waited too long as well. He floated over. Lopez, or Giannis, was making the run, and he basically floated over into Giannis' space. Giannis has to worry about being offside, so he slowed down and just went a little bit too far wide into Giannis' space. And by then, the play and the momentum was dead in terms of playing, you know, creating something that could have led to a goal-scoring chance. Lopez has to play that ball quicker out wide to Giannis and then maybe work something 1-2 in that side of the pitch.
It's well won in the air there by Roca, trying to flip over the top for Valesky, but the whistle it sounded. Valesky having a tug at Arellano. As you did see there, the graphic flash up. LA2 yet to muster a shot in the second half despite going 1-0 down 30 seconds in. Here is Lassiter. And we're also told, you can probably also recall from memory, that LA2 have yet to muster a shot from inside the penalty area in this match.
Yeah, every shot they've tested so far outside the area. Lassiter with a couple of them. We saw Chimpong with one.
As Giannis will whip the cross in, and it's cut up by Sean Reynolds. I'll take a header down there. As Valesky left it for Calistri. Now an opportunity on here for St. Louis through Austin Martz. It's been brilliant so far in this match. Teasing Arellano and turning, leaving it for Barden. The cross is sent in. It's one in the air by Roca, but not directed towards goal. Apia able to get it away as far as Hilton. So we are receiving word of a final change. Ethan Zubak is being prepared for LA2. We're hearing that Adrian Vera will make way. As the referee does award a throw for Los Dos. As he will have another substitution. So Mike Munoz making all three changes before St. Louis has made even the one. Substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. So it is Vera off and Ethan Zubak on. 19-year-old from Corona, California, Zubak, promising young prospect in the LA system. First to go through their blended learning program, combining high school with footballing education. Already 55 appearances for Los Dos since 2015, despite being just 19. 6 goals and 3 assists in total, 28 appearances a year ago. As there will be a throw here for Los Dos as the ball is thrown in towards Boucher, who's making a run into the area by Zubak, the substitute. And there he is to leave it for Nate Schultz, who would come forward, but dispossessed there by Martz, who continues on his way. Valesky couldn't quite spot the run, and so he'll whip it out to Jonathan Barden. It's a good ball for the right wing back, marauding forward. Cutting inside, leaving it for Roca. Into the area. It'll set up nicely for Austin Martz. He'll cut it on to his right. Couldn't quite make its way through the massive bodies. Cut out in the end. Reynolds playing it forward for Culbertson. Lofting it again towards Valesky. Physical contact there. Play on. Roca. A nice ball coming through for Culbertson. Plenty of space to pick out the right cross. And again unable to do so. Requejo clearing.
That's twice in that sequence. We saw Roca get the ball out wide. I have to wonder where Schultz is. Schultz is the right back. He's pinching in way too far inside, giving all that space to Culbertson out wide on the left. But Roca, 2 clever passes out wide, noticing how much space was open on the left side of the attack for LA, the right of, or St. Louis, I should say, the right side of the defense for LA Galaxy 2. Just unable to finish it, and you could see Schultz, or excuse me, Martz and Roca and Culbertson just switching. Wherever the space is available, one of those players will run into it. Seeing Roca getting more and more touches, being more a part of the attack in the midfield, or at least through the middle of the St. Louis formation of the attack. Hilton dropping back to be kind of that safety, defensive player, defensive midfielder, allowing Roca to push forward through the middle.
As Boucher now going to get cut on it. A foul challenge from Tony Roca in the judgment of Don Thibault. Haven't heard the whistle too often tonight. We've also yet to have a booking, which for an LA2 side is quite the improvement.
Yeah.
From the 3 reds and a suspension as well. Hugo Arellano suspended for his role in a fight against Colorado Springs Switchbacks and was fined as well. 3-match suspension and a fine. Arellano now back in the team as Lopez again trying from outside the area. Again, Jake Fennelson not really that tested.
Yeah, Fennelson seeing that shot go wide, and Lopez, once again, we said it, when your team's struggling to score goals, you can see LA Galaxy unable to put together those sequence of passes to get that ball into the area, and so they've had to just take their chances from outside the box. Fennelson saying it every time. and being able to make the saves necessary to preserve this clean sheet. And St. Louis, I think they just need another goal, especially at this point, would be deadly.
A couple of nice touches, but Apia's ball was meant as a pass in the end, coming in off the advertising hoarding and behind Jake Fennelson's goal.
And one thing we're seeing, you mentioned the oldest player on the team is 24 for LA Galaxy, and that youth is hurting them in just one and only aspect of the game. There's not that patience, that poise, the slow down, build the attack, have players run off the ball and get into space. Obviously they're young, so they're going to learn to do that over time, but that's the main reason. I think that's the main reason why they just haven't been able to generate really good, strong, dangerous goal-scoring opportunities, just because the youth has them just playing frenetically, and that's when you really need to be poised, especially on the ball. Wait for your teammates to make runs in the space.
Ball is sent over the top for Barden. He'll leave it for Martz, who's got plenty of space to run at defenders. He'll play the 1-2 at Calistri. Comes off Austin Martz. Will peel it back in the direction of Valesky, and it came off an LA Galaxy defender. It looked like Hilliard Arce getting something on that out for the corner.
Yeah, but look how much space Austin Martz has to run. And then the great touch by Calistri. Maybe that first touch by Martz there in the second one takes him out wide. That makes it harder to get that cross in, but still, great football once again by St. Louis, and it's Austin Martz in the middle of it, at the heart of it. He really is the heart and soul of the attack for St. Louis. For every goal scored by St. Louis FC off a corner kick, Electro Savings will be donating $100 to a St. Louis charity. This is the Electro Savings corner kick.
As Culbertson will whip it in towards Cavita, who got something on it, but able to direct it on the target.
How cool would have that been? How cool would that have been? Make sure I get my prepositions right. For Cavita there, but he was able to elevate and get a header onto frame, or at least look dangerous in the air, with the possibility of connecting.
Here's Lopez with some space to run. They played into the run of Boucher, just tried to get it out wide, leaving his body on the line, and actually in the end the referee blowing the whistle for that challenge was Culbertson, and you see he's worse for the wear on his right boot.
Culbertson flying in to clear to that ball. Looked like he got kicked in the ankle by Lopez.
As you're going to see here, oh, as Boucher just cut a bit too much of him. A bit cynical, that.
Yeah.
And we have received word that Boucher will take a yellow for it.
A yellow card caution has been issued by the referee.
And so there is the German getting his yellow in the first of the match for either side. 83 minutes.
Yeah.
Really clean game played tonight.
And he definitely deserved the yellow card there. Coming in late, completely unnecessary.
Culbertson does look fit to carry on. It is interesting, George. We've yet to see a change from Anthony Poulos. Mike Munoz already using all three of his changes, but his attacking options out injured. Does still have Kadeem Dakers, Albert Dikwa on the bench. Maybe throw in another defender as well, electing to just carry on with the same 11 for 90 minutes.
I think what he's seeing is a good cohesion.
Team playing well as well, as the ball is flicked for Valesky into the area. Peeled back for Calistri, cut up by Hilliard Arce. Another chance on for St. Louis. They're doing so with some pretty decent football as well.
Yeah, yeah. The holes in the spaces are opening up for St. Louis, and they're making the right passes into those spaces and making the runs off the ball as well, so that they can connect and get into the penalty area of LA Galaxy too. This is good potential. Seeing good potential football from St. Louis.
Martz for Culbertson. Peel back into the area, and it's a well-stung shot by Tony Roca. And Lopez reacting well, equal to it.
And what we've seen here in the last few minutes down the left side of St. Louis, we've seen them take advantage of Nate Schultz being out of position or being beaten regularly. And so they've taken advantage of that. And this is a great ball through for Culbertson, and then squaring it to Roca in the middle. It's well done. Great football by St. Louis. They noticed that left side, the right side of LA Galaxy 2 attack, or LA Galaxy 2 defense is a little suspect with Schultz being out of position. So they've been attacking it and trying to exploit it.
Another Electro Savings corner. Culbertson again to swing it in. High arcing that one. Fink the closest to it, but one in the air by Los Dos. Reynolds. In the end, allowing Lassiter to play for LA Galaxy 2. And he'll spray a ball into the channel well for Frank Lopez. You see plenty of numbers staying forward for Los Dos, even on the corner. You know, their mission at this point is to try and get that equalizer.
Yeah, you're going forward. They're taking some risks, and that's where St. Louis can exploit them and get a second goal here. You have to like the balance of St. Louis. You've seen them look dangerous on the right, and then they floated over to the left, and the last 3 or 4 minutes have looked dangerous down the left side. But we've also seen, in the case, Martz has been over there as well. So he has that freedom under Anthony Poulos' system to just pick out the right space and make things happen.
This ball is played in the direction of Roca, but Schultz will cut it out. Do have some news from around the grounds. In USL, Reno 1868 just getting started against Colorado Springs. That one 0-0. Fun one between Seattle Sounders 2 and Rio Grande Valley. Sounders 2 going up in the first minute, but RGV went into the break up 2-1. But Seattle will come back in the second half. Felix Chenkum with a brace. Azriel Gonzalez getting the winner, so Seattle winning 3-2 in that one. Orange County following up a great performance against this LA Galaxy 2 side a week ago, winning 3-0 away to San Antonio. Hashimoto and Evoltson and Ramos Godoy with the goals for Orange County. As there's Boucher. Winning it there was Hilton in midfield, but almost a bit too heavily. Giannis able to recover, but now in a counter-attacking opportunity is on here for St. Louis. As Hilton will clip it into the area in the direction of Valesky, and Hilliard Arce doing enough just to provide the intervention.
Oh, this is a good ball. First of all, well done by Hilton, bursting through and able to get between two LA midfielders to get into that space. Try to bend it for Valesky. Valesky trying to himself split a couple of LA Galaxy 2 defenders. But Lewis Hilton has been a very underrated performer in this match. He has done very well dropping back defensively and then providing a good spark, a clever spark in the midfield in terms of passing and playing his teammates through into space in the attack.
As it will be Albert Dikwa to come on. And it is Valesky who will make way, who put in quite the shift despite not getting the goal. So it's Valesky off, Dikwa on in this G&W meet substitution.
You know, Valesky will be disappointed about the fact that he didn't score a goal, but he has no reason to be disappointed about his play. He did very well in this match, provided some great passing, made himself available in terms of being another player in the attack, made some clever movements as well. He had a good game, he played well. Obviously, as a number 9, you want to score, but he did not hurt the team at all and was a positive player, especially in attack for St. Louis.
Albert Dikwa wearing the number 10, the Cameroonian. His last season with the St. Louis manager, Anthony Poulos, in Orlando, for Orlando City B. Do you feel like we should always mention whenever talk about the St. Louis manager, he is the son of Tony Poulos, in case that name sounds familiar.
Yep.
Current Middlesbrough manager, obviously a long time in the Premier League with Stoke Palace. This year was sacked by West Bromwich Albion, now managing in the Championship.
Trying to get the Smoggies back up to the Premier League. Middlesbrough up in the Premier League 2 seasons ago. Went down and then trying to bounce back up.
Did see today confirmation of 1 promotion from the Premier League, Wolverhampton.
Oh, all right.
Wolves into the Premier League.
Good for them. Good to see them back in the English top flight.
As Hilton will loft it in the direction of Dikwa. He tried to flick on for himself. As we are hearing not too many stoppages in this second half, so we'll just have the 2 minutes to be added on.
I mean, this has been a pretty clean match. There hasn't been, as you mentioned, not too many stoppages, not too many fouls. It's been a pretty smooth match. St. Louis is a team that, when they have the possession, they play that flowing football, lots of movement. They've had LA Galaxy 2 on their back heel, and LA Galaxy 2 resorting to not fouling.
As an opportunity now for St. Louis to get their second, they haven't been able to do so as Roca was trying to find Dikwa in the area. Out only as far as Hilton.
But once again, Roca getting in behind the defense because of sloppy passing and ball handling by LA Galaxy 2.
And now give away. Can LA2 find their equalizer? Lassiter for Janes. The cross is hit first time, cut up by Reynolds. That was important, as it did seem like LA2 did have that opportunity. We are hearing that we will have another change coming up soon. I don't even have time for it, though. Requejo and Emmanuel Apia, and Hilliard Arce, who's come far forward from a center back position. Lassiter trying to play it for Lopez, but that was a bit off the mark. And Fennelson now will do well to keep it in play so that that extra bit of time can come off.
And Lassiter dropping in deep. That allowed Lopez to go forward. Lopez with his back toward goal, looking to get that ball, get that service, and then maybe either make a turn or see. He had Giannis on the left side, so maybe Giannis was the one that was going to make his way into the penalty area, but Lassiter just couldn't connect with Lopez.
Boucher cut up by Dikwa. And with less than a minute to play, can LA Galaxy 2 fashion one opportunity? They haven't had many of them. The best coming from Ari Lassiter, trying to catch goalkeeper Fennelson off his line. Ended up hitting the top of the bar. It's been a struggle tonight for the visitors, as Cavita, loose touch, nearly left it for an LA2 player to win it, but is booting it away. Apia again. And Zubak, the substitute. Looking around Calistri, tug at the arm. And the advantage was given and eventually whistled back as Calistri got a bit too much of Zubak's arm. And now one last opportunity perhaps for Julian Boucher to whip a ball into the penalty area. We'll have the confirmed change. Actually, the referee had motioned for it, but Anthony Poulos elected not to change things, particularly had a set-piece defending. That's a delicate combination that can be thrown off with a sub. So Boucher will whip it in. Final opportunity for Los Dos. Decent arc on it. On the way through, the flicked-on header is on for Schultz. Appeals for handball not given, and the referee will put whistle to lips and signal the end of a St. Louis FC victory. They win by 1-0. The goal coming just after halftime from Joey Calistri. And St. Louis FC make it 7 points from 9 on a 3-game homestand. And Anthony Poulos will be pleased with another win in the bag for the hosts.
Yeah, well done by St. Louis FC. The score not indicative of how dominant and how impressive they were, especially in attack. It could have easily been 3 or 4-0 in favor of St. Louis FC. Calistri with the goal in the second half to start the second half. A good performance for St. Louis and a positive sign going forward. They're able to keep a team that is struggling to score goals. They were able to keep them down, and they really were not threatened in this match. It's a strong victory for St. Louis FC.
And St. Louis FC getting the goal through Calistri just out of halftime. And that is enough for another victory as they continue on their way to try and make the USL playoffs. We'll be right back for the Edward Jones postgame show. It's full time, brought to you by Edward Jones. St. Louis FC 1, LA Galaxy 2 is your final score.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce. Your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
This is my Toyota RAV4. My wife and I love it for so many reasons. Fold-down seats, cargo space for days, and the best part, hands-free liftgate. We can literally open the trunk with our feet. And for that flexibility, I give my RAV4 5 oversized bags.
Tested, trusted, Toyota. Lease a new 2018 RAV4 for $259 per month, or get 0% APR plus $500 bonus cash. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com.
St. Louis FC victors this evening over LA Galaxy 2. Chris Whittingham, George DiMatteis wrapping things here. This is full-time presented by Edward Jones. St. Louis FC applauding their fans after they come out to the Toyota Stadium and see their team win for the second time in 3 as we get to our full match highlights. And George, this was a game you could say that was pretty well dominated by the host St. Louis.
Yeah, LA Galaxy 2 never really threatened St. Louis FC in this match. Austin Martz had an impressive game once again. He was able to get into the penalty area consistently and threaten the goal. This was an opportunity here. Great ball by Roca. He probably should have put this one away, and he knows he missed by millimeters. LA Galaxy 2, the only thing they could muster in attack were shots from long range. We saw that one by Achimpong, and then in the first half, Lassiter tried to chip the keeper from long range as well. Right at the start of the second half, this is a great combination play between Martz and Barden, chipping it over for Calistri, who was unmarked, and it's an easy, fundamental header for him. Only goal of the match, but St. Louis FC, after this goal, they were able to just be very comfortable, keep their shape defensively, and keep out LA Galaxy 2. An opportunity here for LA Galaxy 2, but it was Giannis, second half substitute, beating Reynolds the first time, but Reynolds got him back the second time. And as we mentioned, Chris, there could have been 2 or 3 goals in this game. Calistri trying to get to the end there on the near post. Then Roca, great ball out wide to Martz, and Martz cutting into the heart of the area. I think if he takes the shot with the left foot, he would have had a better opportunity, but he's cutting into a bunch of bodies. But Martz was all over the place for St. Louis. Roca forcing a great save here from Lopez, and in the end, St. Louis with a comfortable victory, even though it was only 1-0.
Shots 19-8. 4 on target for St. Louis, is 2 for LA2, but we mentioned in commentary, not 1 shot for LA2 coming from inside the area. And so they head into another week with another victory. It's going to be quite the uphill battle to respond.
Yeah, for LA Galaxy 2, they just have to figure out a way to play more composed on the ball. As for St. Louis, the only thing I would say, and we mentioned it during the match, they haven't scored more than 1 goal all season. It's finishing. But if they can create chances and play the way they did against LA Galaxy 2, continue to play that way with Martz pulling the strings and Calistri and all these other players, they are going to have a game where they get 3 or 4 goals. They have the potential to play and score that many goals with the system that Anthony Poulos wants to play.
St. Louis away from home next weekend in Oklahoma City. We'll have the match right here on ESPN Plus. If you want to watch with us as St. Louis FC finish a homestand with 2 victories and a draw, 7 points from 9, including the 1-0 tonight over LA Galaxy 2. Joey Calistri, the goal scorer, providing the difference between these two sides. St. Louis off to a decent start in this 2018 campaign. That'll do it for us. For George DiMatteis from Broadcast Partner, for our great broadcast crew, my name is Chris Whittingham, signing off. Once again, St. Louis victorious 1-0 over LA Galaxy 2. Joey Calistri, the goal scorer. That'll do it for us.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.